Hello guys, welcome to the Anything Goes Hokkaido video podcast. I'm Shinya. I'll be on a solo interview today with my good friend Eve. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Eve. I'm from America, but I've been living in Japan for a bit over a year now.
And more specifically, why are you here today?
I work at a guest house in Sapporo called Guest House WAYA, and I was just hoping to come and talk about WAYA a bit more. Share my experience living in Japan.
Yeah. Delena unfortunately is not available. She's busy again with all her narrations and recordings and music and things like that. So just solo for this podcast. But always please subscribe, like the video. We appreciate your support on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the SNS social networking sites. So thank you. Anyway, firstly, when did we meet?
We met
for the first time.
Friend's birthday about a year ago. Actually, a bit over a year ago now, I think.
Yes, so we went to some random bar.
Yeah.
First, right?
Yeah. While we were waiting for everyone,
While we were waiting for everyone. And then, I don't know why, but we walked all the way back to, what's the place? What's it called? Yes, Power Cook. Our local izakaya. I'm not sure why we walked all the way back from Susukino.
Probably me. I think it was me.
Okay.
No one could come up with a place, so I was like, yeah, come on.
Yeah, but then when you think about it, Susukino is just full of places, you know?
Yeah.
Yes, but meeting other English teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, not really other English teachers. I'm not an English teacher.
I'm technically now an English teacher. But of course, at the time, yes, not an English teacher. But going to a local izakaya, talking, drinking, things like that. You left after.
Yeah, I left after the izakaya.
You left after, and we went clubbing, and that was an interesting time. Yeah. But the first time I heard about WAYA was through some of my co-workers. So I used to work in Kiroro, a ski area or ski resort in Hokkaido, and a lot of my friends who go to Sapporo or stay in Sapporo for the weekend or during their holidays, during their days off, they tend to stay in cheap areas, for example, WAYA. So you've met a few French people. There's a person named Neil that I remember. He's an Australian bartender that stayed in WAYA. So that's the first time
He's still in Japan.
Yeah, he's still in Japan.
I ran into him on a hike the other day. That was a surprise.
The other day?
Yeah, I hadn't
seen Hokkaido?
I hadn't seen him in over a year since he stayed at WAYA. And then I was in the middle of the mountains in Shakotan and I saw him about a month ago, maybe.
Okay. I've heard some of my co-workers moved to Niseko for the year after. But yeah, I haven't seen him since work either, so that's more than a year as well. Yeah, but that's how I first heard WAYA, and then when I moved to Sapporo, and now I'm staying in Toyohira, WAYA is very, very close, less than 10 minutes walk, so very, very close. So a bit more detail about WAYA.
So WAYA is a guest house. We have dormitory rooms, we have private rooms, but what really makes us unique is on the first floor we have a common space. Right now we call it a shared lounge, and it's where local people, our guests, anyone can come and hang out. We have multiple events every week of all different sorts, anything from cooking, culture, music, just having fun playing Mario Kart. So we have a lot of different events all the time. And it's just a really cool place to be able to meet local Japanese. You can meet other foreigners. It's a really interesting place.
And of course, I made a few friends from there because of you. Yes, for the regulars that come over to WAYA and just have a good time, have a drink, talk about different things. Even I went to like a little music event, and that was very interesting. Some people from different parts of Hokkaido came over just to play.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I remember right, you left quite early on that event. We always have a lot of musician friends, and a lot of them do different like little self performances, and then at the end it always turns into like a jam where everyone's playing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that time was there was a share house party. So I came over with, I think it was Ray a long time ago, and we stayed for about an hour and then we left. And then another day we came over for Halloween just to show off the costume for a little Halloween party, and then you also had your birthday as well starting at WAYA. So it was really, really nice. Yeah, it's really, really good.
I remember all the girls were quite scared of your Halloween costume.
Definitely, not a surprise, especially I think because of Corona now, it's probably more scarier. It's scarier. Yeah.
Do Japanese know the meaning behind the costume? Because you were the doctor, yeah.
It's like, what's it called in Japanese? Like pesto isha or something. Not many people do know about it, but after you sort of show like a Wikipedia page about the plague and stuff, they're like, I see. Yeah, okay. So they don't exactly know, but after like I show it to them, yes, they sort of understand. It's not like they truly understand about it. Yeah. Any other things about WAYA? For example, how to get there. Maybe like the normal was the costs of staying in WAYA.
So how to get there? The easiest would be just like it depends where you are really. If you're coming from the airport, like if you're flying into Hokkaido, you want to stay with us, there's a bus that takes you from the airport to the Tsubaki Prince Hotel, and then it'll drop you off, and then from there it's maybe a 5-minute walk to our guest house. If you're coming from, let's say, Sapporo station and you take the train, you can take it to Kikusui, and then from Kikusui it's also about a 5-minute walk to WAYA.
Yep. And what do you think is the best way to book a room or a bed?
Through our homepage.
Through the homepage?
Yeah. We have different websites you can go through, like Airbnb, Hostel World, but the easiest is through our homepage.
Okay. Sure. Yes. Thanks for that.
And a dormitory right now is about 2,000 a night, and then our private rooms vary for how big they are. We have 3 different sizes.
Okay. 2,000 is very, very cheap. Even I stayed in dormitories in very countryside areas, and they're still about 3,000 yen. So 2,000 yen, pretty close to. I mean, it's just 10 to 15 minutes walk from Susukino as well, so very, very, very close to the main areas. So really, really good. Is it busier during the summer or the winter?
Our busiest season is summer. During summer, a normal non-corona summer, we're usually fully booked every single night for about 3 months. Okay. And then during winter, most people just go straight to the ski resorts. So
they don't stay in Sapporo?
Yeah. So for Sapporo as a whole, like winter is actually pretty slow, except for the snow festival.
Right. And how's the business going so far?
We are 6 years old. We've been doing really well up until now. Obviously, with Corona, we are facing some challenges, but we're coming up with a lot of different plans to make it through.
Yeah, and
like we've started doing online Yado, so online WAYA. Yeah. And for 1,000 yen, you can join us. It's a 2-hour experience. We take you through a check-in of WAYA. We talk about Sapporo. It's a really fun time to come and hang out with us when you can't actually travel. Yeah,
especially nowadays when it's really quiet traveling. Even the flights in Japan are quite cheap. I'm going to Tokyo soon, and from Sapporo, Chitose to Narita is less than 1,000,000 yen return. So yes, less than 10,000 yen return is quite cheap.
Yeah.
And of course, there's no Chinese tourists.
Yeah.
Yes, so
Yeah,
that
it's
is really good.
It's cheap, but still people aren't traveling.
Yeah.
People don't take the risk.
Yeah, I do understand, but for the people who love Hokkaido, love hiking, love the food, summer is like the best time to come to Hokkaido, go for a drive. Really. So this is a good opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I would really suggest people come up here. You get to experience everything, but it'd be a bit more calm without the crowds.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for the WAYA. All the links will probably be in the description or on this video right here, and think on all the other Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, whatever. Everything will be all in the description. Anyway, so next topic is something that I wanted to talk about because we have experience. Delena doesn't have experience with this, but it is tattoos. So in Japanese, they say irezumi. Tattoos are irezumi. It's not a very good image, I would say. It's getting better. But for example, my grandparents do not like tattoos. Of course, it still has the image of Yakuza, Japanese mafia. And how many tattoos do you have, Eve?
I have 5 tattoos.
5? All around your body?
Yeah, I have one on just under my collarbone, which is quite easy to see, one on my shoulder, and then 3 on my legs.
Okay. Yes. And do you like onsen? Do you like hot spring? Okay. Yes. So how has how was the experiences been going into hot springs, onsens in Japan for you?
I have to say, I usually go, like, all my friends are pretty much Japanese, so I usually go with Japanese friends, and then because of that, no one really cares to stop me. I have a feeling if I went by myself, I might not be allowed into the onsen, because I know that's quite a common problem, but I've never actually experienced it myself.
Okay, and just onsens in Hokkaido?
Onsen all around Japan.
All around Japan. Okay. Interesting.
They do get stared at, especially by children. I have a lot of girls pulling on their moms going, Mom, look, what is that?
Okay. Yeah.
So the stairs are definitely a thing, but I have yet to not be allowed into an onsen, which I think is quite rare.
Oh, no. I've been to many onsens that didn't allow me to go in. I just asked them nicely, if I have a tattoo, can I go into the onsen? And they said, no. They just said, no, that's it.
I think more honest, I would have all the Japanese do the speaking of how many people it is, and then we walk in, we just don't mention my tattoos.
Okay. I just don't want to make a problem, like I just have that thinking or idea when I go into the onsen, and I'm in the onsen at the time and someone tells me to get out. I don't know if that's a thing, but that's never happened to me, but I just don't want that to happen in a way.
I've heard it can happen. It's a
bit embarrassing, so I prefer just to go to the reception and say, I have tattoos. Is it okay if I can go to the onsen? And of course, it depends on the place. For example, if there are lots of foreigners that go there, for example, the hotel that I used to work at, more than 50% of the customers are foreigners, so they can't say you can't go into the onsen because you have a tattoo. However, if you do have crazy tattoo, like a full neck tattoo or a full back tattoo or things like that, probably not. But for example, maybe for you, of course, it's in different parts of your body and it's not like very big, so it might be fine. For me, my tattoo is also, a decent size, but not like it's covering my back. So for tourist friendly areas, it should be fine. But for example, I went to Sonkyo in Hokkaido. Very, very beautiful place, very famous for onsens, and yes, they didn't let me. I stayed at the ryokan,
Yeah.
and they didn't let me stay. They didn't let me go into the onsen. However, that didn't stop me. I still went in anyway, but just during very late at night, maybe 1 or 2 a.m. when not many people were there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. However, there are many onsens that have a cleaning time. Maybe, but it's usually during the day when everyone has to check out.
That's
so
true. Yeah.
In the morning, 2 a.m. or something, or if you go like 4 or 5 a.m. if you're awake at that time, it's good. No one's there, and sometimes I love we say rotembura, which is the outside hot springs, and it's amazing.
Same. Those are some of my favorites. Yeah.
Yes, and especially when it's winter time and it's snowing. Yes, you just want to stay in the bath for hours.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I do a lot of hikes and stuff with my friends, or lots of different adventures in Hokkaido. And then usually after the adventures, we like to go to an onsen. But
of course,
like I said, because all my friends are Japanese, I just have never had any problems. I think because a lot of these are weird, like kind of unusual, not so famous hikes, so maybe the onsens don't get so much attraction. So if they were to say no to me, it would be to 4 or 5 Japanese people and to me. So they just don't want to miss out on the business, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, I get to experience wonderful onsen.
Right. And yeah, I haven't been to many onsens with just local Japanese people. It's either just been by myself, actually.
Okay.
So, especially when I was traveling around Japan through Kanto and Hokkaido, a lot of the time it's been by myself. So I've been staying in different places, and most of the time it's been by myself. So that's why I asked them.
Yeah. I think if you ask, they're more likely to say no. It's maybe more honest and maybe a better thing to ask. Maybe I should ask, but I'll get set. People will tell me no more often then.
And has your tattoos affected anything else in Japan? So not just, of course, everyone thinks about hot springs when they talk about tattoos, but anything else in particular?
Yes and no. For the most part, no. My work is really open. They don't care if I show my tattoos at work. And day-to-day life, it hasn't been affected. But for a while at WAYA, we were getting this old man who was coming every single day pretty much. And he's in his late 70s, I think. And for my one under my collarbone, you can almost always see it. I'm not sure how he didn't know I have tattoos, but one day he could see my one on my back. And he freaked out. Like he was following me around just screaming into my face. He was saying that if I was his daughter, he would kick me out. He would never talk to me again. If he was my boyfriend, he'd break up with me. If I was his wife, he would divorce me, never to speak to me again. If I was somehow in his family, he would disown me. And it got to the point where like multiple friends were like stepping in, being like, you need to calm down, like this is okay. And he's like, no Japanese like tattoos. If you say that you don't mind her tattoos, you're two-faced, you're a liar. And it got to the point where after about 10-15 minutes, I actually just left work. I wasn't working at the time. I was there to meet some friends. But I just left WAYA. Like he got incredibly nasty with me. And that was very unexpected because I thought he knew I had tattoos because you can see my collarbone one all the time.
Interesting. But of course, yes, WAYA is a very tourist-friendly, foreign-friendly place. So yeah, they don't really have that image of no tattoos and things like that. I mean, normally, most young Japanese people, I would say, don't have an issue with tattoos. I know lots of Japanese people that want tattoos, but they're thinking about, of course, onsen.
Yeah.
They are thinking about what their parents might think about them after getting the tattoos. So this is definitely like a Generation X. Generation X is like in their 40s and 50s now. Yeah. So I see.
Just yesterday I was talking with a friend who wants to plan a tattoo.
Plan a tattoo?
Is worried. Yeah, like she wants to get one, but she just doesn't know quite what. So we were talking about like different things that she could do. But she was worried about the onsen. But she said if it's small enough, you can just put a band-aid on it and then you're fine to go.
The problem is for me, especially going out by myself, I can't reach my tattoo. So I remember getting the tattoo at first, and I was in Tokyo at the time, and it was so hard to like put the cream.
Yeah.
Holy moly, like I had so much pain, like trying to take the tape off my back. I think it took about 2 days because I couldn't reach it, and I was trying to like get into the shower and not put hot water, just getting some water, trying to like get it off. But yes, I managed somehow. I don't remember how, but I managed to get it all off. But there was like a few bits and tape left, and that pissed me off so hard.
I do remember when I got my shoulder one. I think I can reach all parts of my back, but
oh really?
It is in such a spot where I have quite flexible shoulders, but it did get sore after the 3rd week, I think, of putting on lotion. My left shoulder started to get really sore from always trying to put the lotion on it.
It's like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
You usually have to put lotion on for 3 weeks?
You're supposed to do it, about 3 weeks.
I definitely didn't. I did it for about a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was also my first tattoo, so I was a lot more worried about it.
Okay.
Now I try to be good for I usually do at least 2 weeks though.
Yeah, I didn't do after my second tattoo, I went drinking the same night, and that was not a good idea, but it was alright. It's not a big issue, I guess.
I did too.
Really?
My first tattoo, yeah.
Yeah, of course they recommend not you to drink. What else do they not recommend you to do?
I think I just had one drink. We just went because it was a really cool bar in San Francisco, so we went to check it out. Not really to get drunk. But I know you should.
There was a friend I haven't met for a while, so we went out and I said, I got a tattoo. And of course, if someone persuades me to drink, yes, rip me. So
yeah,
I drank quite a bit, but the tattoo took about 2.5 hours, and I had to catch a train home standing up for about an hour and a half. So I could feel like the loss of blood in my body, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because when you were getting a tattoo, lots of blood didn't come out?
A little bit, but not enough to feel it.
Okay.
I went on a hike afterwards.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Do my first one.
Oh, of course, that's the thing. You have to protect it. Like, you don't put it out in the sun and things like that, obviously.
Yeah.
Put the cream on. But yeah.
I enjoy getting it tattooed in Thailand because it's a bamboo tattoo. And it does take a lot longer.
Like this?
Yeah. So it's like one long one. He has his hand going like this.
That hurts, no?
It's actually less painful than a normal tattoo. And
really?
It takes a lot longer because it's literally just one needle.
Yeah.
But the healing time is also less because of how it's done. So for a normal tattoo, the first month is the healing period. But for bamboo, it's just a day or two.
Does it wear off quicker then?
It depends on the artist. But it's the same for normal tattoos. I've seen people get normal tattoos where it wears off in a few months. But with my artist, I did a lot of research into him. I've seen some of his work. He's slowly doing a sleeve on his girlfriend. And I couldn't tell, it's been over quite a few years now, and I couldn't tell which ones were a few years old versus the one he had just done that week. They all looked exactly the same. So far mine hasn't worn out at all, and I've been in the sun with it a lot, and I've never put sunscreen on or anything, so I think it's pretty good.
Right. That's alright, yeah. Interesting. Which tattoo hurts the most?
I think it's a Thai. My shoulder one didn't actually hurt. Like the actual tattoo part of it didn't hurt. but how I had to sit for her to get to it started to get quite uncomfortable after a while.
To get to it?
Then, yeah, like I just had to sit, like the way her chair was, the angle I had to sit at, I just got quite uncomfortable.
Oh, you didn't lie on like a table?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then the other one was, I have a kind of long one on my leg, and the part he started at is right on my ankle bones, so that was quite painful. And then the rest of it wasn't painful, but to get the right angle of my leg, again, I had to sit really weird. And that one is a dot work tattoo, so it took almost 6 hours.
Damn.
So sitting with my hip at such a horrible angle for 6 hours, plus the pain of the starting of the ankle bone, was quite intense.
Damn.
But the actual tattoo, I don't tend to find them painful.
Strong. No, definitely. There are people out there that want tattoos, but after they feel the pain at the start, they don't want it anymore, you know?
Yeah, but the pain tends to go down after about the first 5 minutes, I find.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, after about a minute or two, maybe 5, I don't care anymore. I read a book, I play games on my phone, I just don't even pay attention.
Really?
Yeah.
No, for me, definitely, it's like, of course, the instant start is like, oh shit. And then you get used to it. And then it gets to like a point where after like a few hours, you're like, it's starting to hurt a bit more, you know? Or maybe it's like getting into a different position where you're not used to again, or a position where it's on the bone or somewhere. Yes. For mine, it was like on the shoulder plate.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, same with mine.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't say it didn't hurt. I think, yes, I could handle it. But I wouldn't say to people it doesn't hurt.
Okay. For me, it really just didn't hurt. Like when I got the one on under my collarbone, he told me at one point that there were 2 letters left, and I thought he meant of the first word. Like I didn't even really feel it.
Damn.
But I do, in 2 of my tattoos, I have a little bit of white ink. And for other colors, I've been totally fine, but I do find that white ink my skin really doesn't like.
In what
So
way?
I have an octopus, and when I was almost done with the octopus, he like wiped it all clean. I was okay, yes, I get to go. And then he pulled out the white ink, and he just said he was going to add some shadowing. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then it hurt. The white ink properly hurts. So for some reason, my body doesn't like it.
Okay.
There must be some other chemical in it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, all my tattoos are just black, so didn't use the white, so I'm not sure about that. Okay.
I've heard that other colors hurt as well, but for me they didn't. It's just been the white.
All right. You planning on getting a tattoo in Sapporo?
Yeah, I've been thinking it would be fun to get a tattoo like slightly themed for every country I live in. So I'm trying to think of what would be a good Japan appropriate one without being too cliche about it.
A cow? A cow or but you don't like fish, so that's a bit ironic.
True.
A fish.
A fish would be too Thailand. That was
yeah. Snow? But it's pretty generic, you know. It's not if you do something about snow, it's just gonna be anything to do with it can be Canada, it can be like Russia, you know. It says something Sapporo. Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan tattoo.
Seiko Mart logo.
Seiko Mart. That's good. That's good. Interesting. But I will get a new tattoo soon as well. Not sure how long it will take.
How big is it?
Even I'm not sure exactly. It's a half sleeve.
Oh, okay.
And then it's going to go down my back through my other tattoo.
Oh, that'll take quite a while, I think.
It's going to take a while, I know that, but I'm not sure how long.
Yeah.
I want to do tattoos where it's sort of like, how do I say? I'm not an artist. It sort of makes like a whole tattoo picture in a way.
Yeah.
But there are different tattoo artists that are doing different parts of it. So I don't want everything just to be randomly separate. I want it to like join together.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have my tattoo now, and that's sort of joined together, and then now I'm getting this tattoo which will join the other tattoos in a way.
Yeah.
So I'm designing it on the flow.
Okay.
Yes, on the go, on the flow, on
Yeah.
the go,
On the go.
on the go. Yes, with the flow.
Yeah.
With the flow. I'm an English teacher. Always.
I'm so glad I'm not an English teacher. My English is just getting worse and worse the longer I'm in Japan. It's getting bad.
I feel it. But now, because I'm teaching English, I feel like my Japanese is going. Actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're getting both now.
Vocab is getting up.
Okay.
But grammar is going back down.
Yeah. I did kind of notice that yesterday, because WAYA is closed at the moment, so I've had a lot of free time.
Oh, so when is it back open? Do you know?
We haven't quite decided yet.
Okay.
In theory, as of July 1st, but we might change it depending on what's going on with Corona.
Okay.
But I've been studying a decent amount while I've had so much free time, but at the same time I've had not so many people to speak with. So yesterday I hung out with a Japanese friend for a good chunk of the day, and it's been so long since I've spoke that much Japanese for that many hours. And there are so many subjects that I struggled to say, and I was like, oh man, a few months ago this would have been easier. I'm losing it, which is sad. I'm studying and losing it.
But of course you're studying, but of course you don't have the conversation. What is it? The conversation time, the speaking time.
Yeah, I did find at the end of the day, I was pretty much back to normal. I was like, okay, cool, I've caught up again. But we hung out for 13 hours, so that was 13 straight hours of speaking.
13?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a long time. I don't know if I hang around anyone for that long.
We went on a lot of different like small adventures, so it was a good day.
Okay, nice. Yeah. That's cool. Anyway, going to a different topic. Another deep conversation. So talking about tattoos. Another topic about LGBTQ. So for the people who don't know, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and what's Q? Queer?
I hear people say it's queer or questioning.
Questioning?
I thought questioning. I didn't quite expect questioning. I thought it was always queer, but lately I've been questioning.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
That, for example, in America, I heard recently there's a new law. I think it's in America. Somewhere, there's a new law where they can't fire staff, or they can't say no to staff just because of their because they are LGBTQ. They can't fire them because they are lesbian or they are gay or they are trans, for example. So another good direction.
In America.
In America, yeah.
3 days ago.
Yeah, very recent.
Yeah, it was because a lot of states you could still be fired for being gay. So in many ways it's a really huge victory. It's a huge rights movement that has happened, and it's really wonderful. But at the same time, Trump has pulled back other rights this week. So while we got that extra victory, there are some losses this week. And on top of that, businesses don't have to say why they fire someone. So even though they're not allowed to say it's for being gay, and if you can find proof about you were fired for being somewhere in the LGBTQ, you can sue. But at the same time, there is I don't remember what it's called anymore. I just read about it. But it's that they can fire you at any time without having to give you notice of why, or they can make up a reason very easily.
Damn. Sounds worse than Japan.
Yeah, so it's a victory, and still kind of like, they'll just say you didn't wash the floor properly or something. And
right, they use a different excuse.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought Japan was quite bad with business and having control, like for a company having too much control over their staff. I've heard many problems with staff having working unpaid work or unpaid overtime, not as many days off, and lots of different problems, but the company controls most of it and other people can't do anything about it. So this is a big issue I've heard about and I've seen before, and I didn't realize America was in a similar way.
I was reading today actually about America and how one of our, like, the biggest form of theft in America is actually wage theft. Is that companies don't pay properly.
Right.
But for about the getting fired part, is in all my contracts for all my jobs that I've had in America, there is a section that always states that they are allowed to fire me at any time without any notice, without giving a reason. So that is a very normal thing in American contracts.
Wow. In Australia, it's definitely the opposite. I do think the staff have a lot more, how do I say it? Not bonuses, but a lot more leeway. There are many situations where the company can't fire staff. For example, they're not working properly, but they have to give them a warning first.
Okay.
Yes. And of course, if you fire staff, you still have to pay them in a certain way. You still have to pay them salary and do lots of paperwork and things like that. But if you make them quit, then it's a different issue.
Fair, yeah.
So in a way, I think some Australian companies don't give staff work. Instead of firing them, they just don't give them as much work. And then they would have to look for another job, another full-time job to get a salary. But of course, this is only for
like, not to me personally, but I've seen them do it to other people. But usually it didn't have to do with any sort of law, but that the manager was just kind of too chicken to fire someone.
Okay. Firing someone, of course, if they do something really bad, like stealing money or, I don't know, do something really bad, vandalism or things like that, yes, then firing. But if they're just not working properly, firing them is not the way in Australia. So they have to find sort of a loophole in the law to make them quit. Yes. Interesting. But anyway, back to the topic. So being a person as LGBTQ, what has been your experiences here in Japan?
Well, I'll start off with, I guess, saying what I am, which is pansexual and demisexual. So for people who don't know what that is, pansexual means that gender doesn't matter to me. I fall for a person and not their gender. And then for demisexual, it just means that I don't feel any sexual attraction until I get to know someone. So I'm just not the type of person to look at someone and be like, oh damn, they're hot, I want to tap that. Like, I just have never been that type of person. Sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes it takes months for me to feel attraction to someone. And then in Japan, I have to say I am very lucky. My company is not a normal company, and I think most of them know I'm not straight, that I'm pansexual. But if any of you guys are watching this, surprise, I am pansexual. But I am aware that Japan is quite a homophobic country. I'm aware that it's not always safe to come out. I have some Japanese friends who are lesbian, and I know one of them, or one partner, they've been together for a little bit over 20 years.
Wow.
And their family, their friends, their non-LGBT friends, and their coworkers, none of them know about it. They just think it's two friends living together.
For 20 years?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Normally, for me, I'm a very openly out person, so it has been an interesting experience in Japan. I'm normally a lot more like making jokes about me being gay or something like that, quite like pretty soon after meeting someone. But in Japan, I am aware it's not safe to do that, so I don't always I'm sure I still have some friends I've been friends with for ages that don't know that I'm not straight. And it's a weird thing. In some ways, I feel like I'm lying. With my work, I wouldn't have taken the job if I didn't think there was a high chance that I was okay to come out to them. But I did take quite a few months of getting to know them to make sure that I would be okay to come out and be safe with it before I started telling them that I was not straight.
Yeah. And even trying to explain pansexual or demisexual, I think, is quite difficult to a lot of Japanese people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they do understand bisexual, they do understand gay or lesbian, but going to further down the line, being, yes, these other types, it is quite difficult for them to understand and grasp on these ideas because you just don't see them at all in Japan, or they just hide it.
For pansexual, I find it interesting because I try to say that I don't mind, like, any gender is okay. When I say any, they get confused by, what do you mean that there's more than two?
Two, yeah. Of course, yes. Not behalf of me, because I'm just a normal straight person, but I have many gay friends, lesbian and bi friends, not trans friends. Haven't really met a trans before, but they are very, very lovely people, and deciding someone that because of what they like can, what is it? How do I explain this? But it's exactly the same as if you talk about racism, if you talk about just having the tattoos, for example, and deciding that this person is not a good person just because of what they think is crazy to me. But in Japan,
you agree that tattoos shouldn't be judged? Like, obviously I have tattoos, I love tattoos, but they are a choice. I did choose to put the tattoos in me. I spent a lot of money on it. But for me to be pan and demisexual, I had no choice in it. Like, I never wanted to do that. So I think in some ways, obviously I think there should be no judgment. But if you were to judge someone, I think it makes more sense to judge on tattoos than for their sexuality, because people have no choice in it.
Okay. I do think there's a little bit of a choice. I mean, of course, tattoo is 100% yes, your decision, right? But for example, if someone wants to be trans, you don't think they choose to be trans?
No, not at all.
Okay. I think that's the difference in the thinking, in a way. I do think it is not a decision, but it is also some sort of decision in a way. It's not like 100% decision where you want it or not. I do think some part of it is that you are this person. But people still choose to, how do I say it, not show in a way that, yes, I am gay, or yes, I am lesbian in a way. So I do think there is a bit of choice.
I don't think you choose what you are at all, but I think you choose how much to show it.
Right. Okay. I understand that. And the difference between, like, being, I don't know, 100% black person, of course, you don't choose to be a 100% black person because you are, you know. Yeah. But interesting. And how, do you know any other people who have or struggled living in Japan or had issues in Japan just for being who they are?
Of the people I have met personally, I guess I do. For Japanese, it is quite hard. For my foreign friends, they haven't had much problems because they just get the card if they're a foreigner and they can do what they want. But I know from my Japanese friends, they have to be a lot more secretive about it. It tends to be that not really anyone knows about it. And if they have partners, they very much hide it. They don't tell anyone anything. But I am part of some Facebook groups for LGBTQ in Japan. And so I do see daily stories of all the discrimination against the LGBTQ community.
I think lots of Asian countries are still have that same thinking, that same idea of not knowing these types of genders, and they do not understand it quite well, so they do, do you think it's a fear? Do you think it's just why do you think a lot of Japanese people don't like people who, for example, like the same gender?
I think for the same reasons people everywhere don't. It's something different from them, and people don't like anything different from them.
Do you think that's similar in a way to tattoos?
I can see why Japanese don't like tattoos, because it has so much connection to the Yakuza. But while everyone's very open to talk about the dislike of tattoos in Japan, like, we still have it in America. People don't like to tell their parents to get a tattoo. You'll get some people shouting at you. You don't get jobs as much if you have tattoos. They can tell you no for a tattoo. So I don't think that's a very unique Japan thing, is to be afraid of that. But I think Japan has a more logical reason to dislike tattoos. For the dislike for being homophobic, I don't think I can't justify any reason for being homophobic. But every culture in the world has it.
Yeah, and I do think Japanese people, or we say majime, is very straightforward. Straightforward people. So anything that is sort of out of their bubble or out of their idea or thinking in a way is something that they are scared of or don't understand. But it's more like they are not there to try and understand it and try and learn it in a way. It's more like having the fear because they don't understand it. But
I think it's hard for me to say. In Japan, they are very much a more homophobic society, and they're not okay with LGBTQ. The younger generation very much is. All my younger friends haven't even blinked. I know one of them was asking me how I had said I was going out with a foreigner, and she was like, oh, how's the foreign boy? And someone went, oh, it's a foreign girl. And she went, oh, how's the foreign girl? Like, no pause, anything. But in Japan, the way that they show their homophobia, unless you're direct family or if you tell your boss or something, the most common way that they show homophobia is just not by talking to you as much. They just kind of shut you out. So it's still homophobia. It's still very much unkind just to shut someone out. But in America, if I go into some of the southern states, and if I wore an LGBTQ shirt or held my girlfriend's hand, I could have to worry about my safety. Like, I could get beat up, I could get killed. And I don't have to worry about that in Japan. So in Japan, I have to worry about maybe I'll lose a friend, maybe people won't speak to me as much. I don't actually, but in theory, perhaps I could lose a job. I don't have to lose the job at WAYA. I'm perfectly safe at WAYA, but that is something maybe to worry about. But I don't have to worry about my physical safety. Well, in America, that can still be a problem. Versus Thailand's they don't have any laws about it, but Thailand is incredibly open for LGBTQ.
I mean, Thailand is famous for having transgenders, so I don't think so. I think people can be whoever they want over there.
Yeah, it's a huge tourist destination for LGBT. Oh man, I'm saying it too much. For anyone in the community.
Well, there's a famous place. No, there's a famous place that is just famous. I forgot the name of the place, but there's like a famous area or place in Thailand that is just have lots of transgender bars and things like that. So
probably
and going through, I think it's sort of connected in a way, but I think having different mental issues and being LGBTQ and in a way is parallel to each other. I do think there are some people that would like to tell people that this is who I am, but they can't. So in a way that causes like anxiety, depression, stress, things like that. Yes. So would you like to talk about some of your, I wouldn't say it's big issues in a way, but something that you've experienced in your life mentally?
I have suffered from depression and anxiety a good majority of my life. I was officially diagnosed probably when I was 17, but looking back, I know I had it far, far before then. And in Japan, it's very much not talked about. So most of my friends don't know I have it. We don't really talk about that type of stuff in conversations. While with Western friends, we definitely have those conversations. So I know that's a huge difference for in Japan. It's a much more hidden thing.
Okay, and you've been to, I don't know, psychiatrists, you've been to doctors?
I've been to doctors. I've had really bad experiences with doctors. And so after some very rude doctors, I have stopped going. I would like to see a psychiatrist at some point in my life, but I don't think I could find a good one for myself in Japan. So that'll be a future thing.
Both doctors in America and Japan?
Most of my bad experiences have been in America. Now I don't much like doctors anymore, so I haven't much tried them out in Japan. I should see if it's different, if it's better, but...
Even if you're just sick? Oh, interesting. Even just having a flu or a cold or something?
I mean, I don't much see the need to go to a doctor for a cold.
Okay, yeah, well, that's the same as me, but I do think there are some times where you need to see a doctor. Maybe it's not corona, but like just like the flu or something, and you might need to see a doctor just for like antibiotics or things like that. And
I've never actually taken antibiotics in my life.
Oh, really? Even in America?
Yeah.
Are you just really healthy, or?
No, but I mean, they don't do anything for a flu. And you should be careful about taking them because it's a world problem is people take antibiotics too much and they'll lose their effectiveness.
Right.
So I've never had the need to take them.
Oh, I mean, there has been a few times in my life, of course, when I was younger, I need to go to the doctor because I felt very, very sick. And of course, getting antibiotics, of course, helped me. Well, it should help everyone. But I understand if you get sick very frequently or very easily, and then you go to the doctor like once a month and take antibiotics every month and things like that, then I understand. Definitely agree with you with the not affecting your body anymore. But I think there are some situations where you're like, okay, I have to go to the doctor.
Yeah, there definitely are. I just haven't experienced.
Yeah. I've been to the doctor once in Japan, and not because I was sick, but because I got into a fight and injured myself. Yes, like an actual punch up. And and I injured my leg, so I went to the doctor, and
how was the experience?
as you said, they didn't do anything. They gave me some medicine, but I didn't take it because it was just painkillers. It was just there to help the pain of my leg, and I didn't have that much pain. I mean, if I did a lot of exercise, then definitely a lot of pain, but if I just do normal walking, it was fine. So I didn't take any of the medicine.
Yeah, I did go once in Japan. I had what I'm pretty sure was the flu, and my company wanted me to go to make sure it was the flu, because if it's the flu, I shouldn't go to work. And so I did go. I went to a place that has English-speaking doctors and or translators, so if it's a specialist doctor you need, there's a translator there to go with you. And I did get in and out really quick, but the doctor was incredibly dismissive. Even though I told him my coworker had the flu, he went, you don't have it, and wouldn't believe me. And then finally he said, we can do the test for the flu, but I'm not going to give you medicine, or if you really demand medicine, it's going to be the same medicine for the flu or for a cold. So it doesn't really make a difference if you have it or not. And at that point, I had no want to try anymore. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna leave. And I left.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't.
It was quite interesting when I kept saying, yes, my coworker has the flu. And he went, oh, no, you don't have it. Okay.
Interesting. I never had that experience.
Yeah, it happens a lot to me. So.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
No, all the doctors I've ever, even in Australia, all the doctors I've ever had just normal, nice patient. There has been many times where I had to go to the doctor, mostly for my acne. I had to go to the doctor first to have a problem with my acne, and then I had to visit the hospital every month to get acne medicine. That was not the best time of my high school life, but because of this I don't really get much acne anymore, but I still have skin damage. Anyway, that's just a random topic, but interesting.
Like, for example, one time I went, what was the reason? I have it so my hands shake, and at the time my knees kept giving out, and I was having really bad nightmares. And so it was like 3 separate things, but I went to the doctor for it. She refused to listen to me for 2 of them, for the knees and the hands.
In America?
Yeah. And then for the nightmares, she declared that I was depressed. And then she said I was depressed because I wear so much black and that I'm a slut. And
Wait, doctor said this to you?
Yeah, and I was maybe 16 or 17.
Is this a doctor, or is this like a
doctor? She's very religious.
That's crazy.
And she was like, if you would stop sleeping around, and I was like, I'm not sleeping with anyone. She's like, no, like, look at you. You're obviously sleeping with someone that dresses with so much black. It wasn't even revealing. Like, I wasn't showing my boobs. I wasn't showing my butt. But it was just the fact that I was in black. And she's very religious. So she kept saying, obviously you're sleeping with someone, look at you. And I was like, I'm not. She's like, we have to have you do a pregnancy test. And I was like, I'm not sleeping with anyone. And she's like, no, obviously you're lying. Like, look at you. You're the type to sleep around. She's like, how many partners do you have? And she's like, I know it's more than one. And I was like, I'm not sleeping with anyone. And I was there for nightmares and shaking hands. And instead I got treated like that. And that's how I have many stories like that. So.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first time I swore in this video, but I have to swear for that situation. Jeez, this doesn't sound like what is it? A developed country? This sounds like a third world country which believes in like really hardcore religion, things like that. And
yeah, a lot of my friends have similar experiences, so I know it's not just me. Like, a lot of my friends are in similar situations. So perhaps Japan's better. Perhaps I should start going to doctors in Japan. I don't know. But the one time I went...
They're not gonna... Maybe they wouldn't understand, but they wouldn't be rude to you like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they wouldn't understand, and maybe they'll just say, maybe you're just sick, or maybe you can do something to fix it, but they wouldn't say, you're a slut. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you know how to say slut in Japanese?
I think so, yeah. Darashinai?
Maybe. No, I'm asking.
Oh,
because
I'm pretty sure it's Darashinai.
Okay. Darashinai?
Yeah.
Well, I have some of my Japanese students that watch this podcast to practice English.
So
yes.
Let me know if I know the right Japanese.
Imagine you go to a doctor and you're spending, I'm not sure if it's your money or the government's money, but it's a lot of money to go to a doctor, and they tell you,
it's very expensive.
Yeah, and they tell you that you're a slut and you're pregnant. And it's just like, what the fuck? It's like, am I paying money to get assaulted, or
Yeah.
like actually like they're not there to like comfort me or try to do something in a way. Maybe they don't understand it, but they can just tell me they don't understand it and they can't help me in a certain way, and maybe you understand. But just saying, oh no, you're like a slut, and just because you're wearing black and things
causes me nightmares.
I don't understand how this religious person can be a doctor, because I thought she just wouldn't believe in sciences.
Right? I do kind of wonder about her. But my stepdad is a rich white guy, or rich enough. He has decent money, and she treats him well. So it's obviously just me, because I wear too much black. A little bit too much of a heathen for her because of my black.
Damn.
Yeah.
Interesting story. I didn't hear about that one. So anyway, I think it's been an hour, close to an hour. Yes. Any other topics or anything else you would like to talk about before we finish off the podcast? Anything more specific?
No, I think that's all pretty much. I think we covered all the topics we said we were going to. Okay.
All right. Would you like to shout out any of your SNS, YouTube, things like that?
YouTube, yeah. We do, right now at WAYA, we are doing WAYA TV, and they're short videos anywhere from like 5 to 10 minutes to teach just basic English to Japanese. And the videos are fully in English and Japanese, so you don't have to worry about your language level. And that one is just, it's on YouTube, and it's called WAYA TV.
WAYA TV,
yeah. You check that out.
It's going to be somewhere here or in the description, so check that out. Yes, check it out. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you, Eve, for coming today.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much for watching or listening to the Anything Goes Hokkaido podcast. I'm Shinya. Yes. Please subscribe and listen to our other podcasts. I might be uploading some more videos soon. Hopefully when I have the time and my sound quality is not shit in my other vlogs or travel videos. Yes. Thanks again. See you again next time, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
As always, we want to offer a huge thanks to everyone who's made this podcast possible. Sorry I couldn't be here this time, but life is picking up again. So, good news is that we are still on a regular weekly schedule, producing a number of podcasts. This is episode 12. Please come to our Patreon account and support us if you like, and continue to watch, subscribe, share, like, and just keep on rockin' Hokkaido. Much love to you all, and catch you next week, Monday, for Anything Goes Hokkaido video audio podcast.